Good morning, my dear loving children, and welcome back to Vidyanagar Public School's online class. Today, we will start a very new chapter, Loki Causes Trouble. Okay, in the previous class, we did the legend of the Blue Bonnet, right? Yes, today we will start this chapter, Loki Causes Trouble. Before that, let me ask you, how many of you have watched the movie Avengers? Many of you, right? Yes, all of you are fans of someone. You might be fan of an Iron Man, or some might be fans of Captain America or Hulk, or someone like who? Yes, Captain Marvel, right? Yes, I know, because my nephew is a very big fan of Avengers. He knows each and everything about all these characters. He always used to kill me by asking all these things. And once the Avenger movie came 1 year back, right? Yes, we both went together for that movie, and I was sitting like this, and he was enjoying, literally he was enjoying very much, because he knows many of the stories related to these Avengers, which I am not at all interested in. But I had to go with him because I am the only person he always likes to be company. So we both went together, and we watched that movie. But at last, I also started liking that movie, and I also started liking Iron Man and all. So today, let's see about Loki. And I'm so sure you are very much familiar with this character of Loki, right? Yes. So let's see what the story is about. Are you ready? Yes, here we go. One day, Sif, do you know who is Sif? Yes, Sif is actually Thor's wife. And who is Thor, by the way? Yes, Thor is that most handsome man in that Avengers movie I have seen. And many of you would be liking Iron Man, but I like Thor very much. Anyway, Thor is actually a warrior god in Norse mythology. He controls the thunder and lightning, wind and rain, and is also known for being a protector of human beings. Okay, so he is known for his strength and all, and he is the god, and he is very much connected to the thunder. He can control thunder and lightning and wind and all. Okay, so and so one day, Sif, Thor's wife, fell asleep in their palace in Thunderworld. Where is their palace? Thunderworld. Loki, who was passing by, saw her and decided to do some mischief. He cut off Sif's golden hair and carried it away. When Sif woke up, she did not know who had done this to her. When she told Thor, he immediately guessed who was responsible for this cruel trick. He set off in a rage to look for Loki. When Thor found Loki, he nearly killed him, but Loki promised that he would ask the dwarves to make a crown of golden hair for Sif. So what does this beginning paragraph says? Or from this we can understand the background of the story, right? Yes. Thor's wife, who is that? Sif, was sleeping, and when she was asleep, our Loki goes by that way. Loki, he is actually the god of mischief. He is god of tricks. He is very good in making tricks and all, with tricks on people. So he goes by that way, and he saw Sif sleeping, and what he did, he cut off the hair of Sif. And you know, Sif is having actually a very beautiful long golden hair. Here you see the picture, you can see like this, she was having the hair. So Loki cut out everything, and she told this thing to Thor, and Thor understood who was behind this misdeed. So he ran to set off, means he set his journey, or he started his journey, and he went to meet Loki in a rage. Rage means very angry he was, and he almost killed Loki by beating him. And Loki is promising that he would bring her a golden hair, or a crown of golden hair for her. That's how the story beginning, right? Let's see the story. Loki lost no time, but went far underground to the gloomy smithy of the dwarfs. These dwarfs were known to be wonderful workers in gold and brass. So he did not waste any time. He ran towards the smithy. Who is smithy? Smithy is actually a place where things are made out of metal using great heat and a hammer. Okay, so he went to meet the dwarfs in that place, and those dwarfs are very famous for making such instruments, or they are famous for the works on gold and metal. Okay, dwarf, what do you mean by dwarf? Very short people. Okay, make me a crown of golden hair, said Loki, that will grow like any other hair, and I will give you whatever you want for your work. So Loki is asking for a help. But what is that? Make a crown of hair for him. Like other hairs grow, it should also grow. So make me such a crown of hair. That's what he is asking. The busy little dwarfs were soon at their task. In very little time, they had done all that Loki asked, and no more too. In addition to the shining hair, they gave Loki a spear and an amazing ship. So the dwarfs started to do their work. At their task means they started doing that work without wasting much time. Without wasting the time, they started doing the work, and they finished within a meantime, within a very little time, they finished it. And they did not just make that crown of hair. They also, in addition, made what? A spear, an amazing ship. These two extra things they made for Loki. And what is a spear? Yes, here you see the man is keeping a spear in his hand. You see? Yes, that's a spear. And in Loki, in Avengers also, you can see the Loki is using a kind of spear. I'll show you here. Did you see? Yeah. Yes. Loki went to the palace of the gods with these treasures in his arms and began boasting of the wonderful things he had brought from the smithy. There is nobody like these dwarfs to work in metal, he said. The other dwarfs cannot compare with them. So he is boasting. Boasting means he is proudly, proud feeling. He is yelling or he is shouting, we can say. In a proud feeling, he is saying that. What he is saying? There is nobody like these dwarfs. These dwarfs means those dwarfs who made these things, these three things for him to compare with. They are wonderful metal workers. Now it so happened that the dwarf Brock was standing by, and he heard Loki boasting. His brother Sindri was such an excellent worksman that most of the dwarfs thought him the best in the world. It made Brock so angry to hear Loki's boasting. He said, "My brother Sindri can make more wonderful things of gold and iron and brass than those dwarfs can ever think of." So, what this Loki was boasting about those dwarfs was heard by who? Yes, heard by Brock. And you know, Brock is actually a dwarf, and he is also very famous for making these kind of metal stuffs. And his brother Sindri is also very much famous for making this kind of weapons. So Brock heard what this Loki was boasting about. So he got so much angry because he knows very well his brother is a very talented workman. Workman means, yes, the person who is very good at particular job. So his brother is a workman who is very good at his job, and he can do and he can make better iron and golden weapons than anyone else in this world. He knows it very well. So he got angry, and he was telling this to whom? This to Loki, that his brother is the best in this art. Loki laughed loud and long. "Go to your wonderful brother," he said, "and tell him if he can make three such precious things as spear and the ship and the golden hair, he shall have my head for his trouble. So he is saying that he is giving a that kind of things. He's saying that I'm ready and you can ask to your brother to make better things than these three things, this spear and the ship and this crown. If he could make better than this, I'll give my head. That's what Loki is saying. Brock went straight to Sidri and told him that of the wager he had with Loki. Soon Sindri was hard at work in his smithy. So immediately Brock goes back to his brother Sindri and talks about the wager. Wager means it's a bet. Okay, talks about the bet he had with Loki. So Sindri suddenly get into the work. When all was ready, Sindri took the bellows, put it into the furnace with some gold and went out to the smithy after telling Brock to blow the bellows until his return. Brock kept working steadily, although a gadfly flew in and stung him so hard that he couldn't hardly bear the pain. So what's happening? Yes, Sindri asks Brock to take care of this gold which he just now put into the fire. So bellows, what do you mean by bellows? Bellows, you might have seen this thing, right? Yes, bellows, this kind of device with an air bag that is used for blowing air into the fire. This thing is something else that I talked about, but this smithy, this blacksmith and all, they'll keep such kind of instrument. Okay, you might have seen, I think, if you have been to a blacksmith. Okay, so he started to use that, and Brock was asked to take care of this gold, right? Yes, and he has to do this until Smithy Sindri returns. Okay, so Brock was working, and in that time, during that time, one gadfly, it's a kind of fly, large fly that actually bitten our Brock was bitten by that, and the pain was so hard he could hardly bear. And in that meanwhile, that time Sindri came back and took a wonderful boar and a shining ring out of the furnace. And out of the furnace, what he took? A shining ring and a boar. Then Sindri put iron into the fire. Then what he did? He put iron inside and telling Brock to blow without ceasing, went out again as soon as he had left. So second thing, what is happening? Sindri put iron into the fire next, and Brock was asked to blow without ceasing. What do you mean by ceasing? Without stopping, he has to blow. But what's happening? Until Sindri returns, he has to blow without stopping. But what's happening? The gadfly flew in and settling between Brock's eyes and stung him so sharply that drops of blood ran down into his eyes. The pain was so bad that at last he raised his hand quickly to brush the fly away. That very instant Sindri returned. So the fly actually bitten on his eyes. Then the blood started to come and it also went inside his eyes. The pain was so bad, and he took out his hand and for brushing away the fly. That instant, who came? Sindri came back. Sindri came back. "You have almost spoiled it," he said as he took a wonderful hammer out of the glowing furnace. "See how short you have made the handle, but you cannot lengthen it now. So carry the gifts to the gods and bring me Loki's head." So Sindri came back. Sindri is saying that Sindri took out the hammer from the furnace. So what they saw? A hammer. But the hammer's handle was very short, because before Sindri reaching, what Brock did, he took out his hand suddenly without his knowledge, right? Because he was suffering from that much pain. So because of that reason, that hammer's handle was very short. So he is saying that carry this three gifts to the gods and bring Loki's head. So this is how our Sindri is sending Brock. So the bet between Brock and Loki, what's going to happen and who is going to win in that bet, all these things we will discuss in our next class. Okay, so all of you should read the chapter twice, and I'll send you the answers, question answers in the back of the text also in our school app. You have to write it down in your notebook. Okay, we will see in the live class. Take care, children.